Just beyond the gates of a church in the town of Bucha, 37 kilometers northwest of the capital Kiev, lies an open field, where a 14-meter-long trench has been dug. What's inside can only be described as horrendous.
To say that this is a gruesome sight would be an understatement. This is where Ukrainian officials are telling us that 60 bodies were buried in a mass grave outside that church by the Russians, and they try to cover it up. And they say that some of these bodies had their hands tied behind their backs and were executed through the head, shot through the head.
The Ukrainians say the Russians used the church grounds to hastily bury civilians and security personnel they had killed after occupying Bucha in the first days of Moscow's aggression.
By Russians, they tried to, to cover this crime, and from United States satellite, they gave the picture to the Ukrainian government, so they find the mass grave, which was pretty, fresh.
The Ukrainians say Russian forces used the grave to hide their crimes of killing innocent civilians execution style. The local priest believes the first burials were innocent civilians caught in the crossfire, but then it became more sinister.
The first burial here took place on March the 10th in agreement with the Bucha City Council, because it was impossible to bury locals once the Russians occupied Bucha, as access to the cemetery was blocked, and there was also no place in the morgue. Later, Russian occupiers started to bury people here they had executed.
Not far away from the mass grave, this man, Oleg, holds a vigil at his neighbor Margarita's grave. He buried the woman at this spot in the church compound after finding her dead on the street.
Margarita was 34 years old. She was fleeing Bucha with her husband and 2 children when they were hit by a Russian tank shell. Her children, boys aged 4 and 10, were burned alive. Her husband, the only survivor, had his leg torn off. He is recovering at a hospital in Kiev.
The Ukrainian president says Russian soldiers are murderers and butchers and is calling for the international community to investigate. The Russians responded by saying the mass grave in Bucha is a publicity stunt meant to further harm Moscow's reputation. But as the bodies are identified and the cause of death revealed, the real truth will eventually come out. Ali Mustafa, TRT World, Bucha, Ukraine.